nacionales e internacionales para los profesionales de esta industria, autoridades, proveedores, estudiantes y practicantes. Para dar inicio al segundo día de actividades del Congreso, tendremos nuestro primer panel titulado El rol y propósito hacia el futuro de la industria de eventos. El panel estará confirmado por Stefan Kützner, jefe del Departamento de Eventos Externos de Deutsche Messe, y por Matthias Schulze, director del German Convention Bureau. La moderadora de esta sesión será llevada a cabo por Judith Hahn, gerente de Mercadotecnia de Hannover First México. Muchas gracias.
Good morning to all our visitors who are attending today's Congress via Zoom or who are sitting here in the audience in Polyforum Leon. My name is Judith Hahn and I'm Marketing Manager of Hannover First Mexico. And it is a great pleasure for me to be the moderator of this panel with the title Future Role and Purpose of Business Events. It is an honor to have with us today Stefan Köster, Head of Venue Booking and Guest Events of Deutsche Messe, and Matthias Schulze, Managing Director of the German Convention Bureau. Allow me to present a brief biographies of our speakers. Stefan Köster joined the fair industry in 1991 and has remained in the business ever since. As project manager for the International Consumer Electronics Show and the International Aerospace Exhibition in Berlin, he gained valuable experience in the preparation and implementation of major events. And as an independent consultant for new trade fairs, he was able to share his knowledge of market analysis and trade show development with international organizers. Since 2005, Stefan has been overseeing the management of trade fairs, meetings and corporate events as head of guest events at Deutsche Messe Hannover. Matthias Schulze is passionate about driving change and innovation, focusing on future-proofing meetings and events as vital platforms for knowledge exchange. With a degree in business administration, he started out in hotel and congress management at Hilton International in Germany and has now almost 20 years of management experience, including as CEO of the World Conference Center in Bonn, which is part of the United Nations campus. In 2010, he took up his current role as managing director of the GCB, German Convention Bureau, that represents and markets the German meetings and conference sector on a national and international level, with offices in Frankfurt, New York, and Beijing. Together with industry partners, Matthias has initiated various projects such as the Future Meeting Space Innovation Alliance that focuses on the opportunities and challenges brought about by the digital transformation. Thank you, Stefan and Matthias, for joining us today in this panel. And I would like to start right away with some questions for you to elaborate on. The pandemic affected each and every one of us in the event industry. We had to reinvent our trade fairs, change the way we did business, and improve our digital presence. Of course, these are by no means all the drastic changes the pandemic forced us to, and there's still a long way to go. In your expert opinion, which changes still have to be made in order to achieve a future-proof event industry? And which opportunities do you see in the future for business events? One of the most radical changing was transforming the format of our face-to-face events to virtual events. However, we are all longing for physical contact. In your opinion, Matthias and Stefan, how will future events look like? Benefiting of our two experts of the German event industry, I would like to ask you, how is Germany adapting to the new changes in order to maintain its global competitive position in the event industry? So Matthias, if you would like to start, we are happy to listen to you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Buenos dias, Mexico. A great and warm welcome from Frankfurt in Germany. I'm more than happy to be part of today's event. And Judith, thank you very much for all the very interesting and not so easy to answer questions. This is why I have prepared a little presentation which I like to share with you in order to give you an update and an overview about the current situation, not only in Germany, but also in Europe and the rest of the world when it comes to business events and the new and future role and purpose of business events. I will start with the most often said sentence in 2020 and 21. I will now share my screen. Followed by the second often said sentence this year. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we
Yes,
see
you
the screen.
can see it. Wonderful.
Perfect.
I was asked to give a quick update about what's going on in the business events sector, and we are doing a lot of research in cooperation with the Fraunhofer Institute, which is Europe's largest application-oriented research institute, and we did some research about the future role of business events. Before I start with my presentation, I like to share a video with you which gives you a quick or an idea of the evolution of the events industry. The events industry, and in specific the business events industry, is one of the oldest and eldest industries in our world, because we all have that genetic code which we call fireside chat. We all like to sit around the fireplace, exchange information, build trust, and drive innovation. That's what we do as long as mankind exists. And if societies are changing, the way we meet, the way we encounter will definitely change as well. The Innovation Network Future Meeting Space was initiated by the German Convention Bureau and the Research Institute Fraunhofer already back in 2015, because we wanted to better understand how the world, in terms of collaboration, in terms of communication, in terms of globalization, and in terms of sustainability, will impact the business events sector in the future. This is the world as we know it. It shows the moving pattern of all international scientific rotating conferences with at least a minimum of 50 participants that take place every year in a different destination since 1873. And you can clearly see that scientists are traveling around the world since hundreds of years in order to exchange information, in order to transfer knowledge, in order to drive innovation. So that's the world as we know it and as we knew it. More than 50% of all international rotating scientific conferences in the world took place in Europe. And within Europe, the most international conferences took place in Germany. Germany offers an excellent foundation for the new now, the new normal, which we are going to talk about in a few minutes. Germany has a top image as a brand. It's the leading convention destination in the world, and it is a world champion in welcoming business traveler and business event participants from all around the world. 10% of all business travelers who are attending business events are traveling to Germany. That's the number one in the world. That's even more than business travelers traveling to China or the US, for example. Germany is welcoming 11.2% of all traditional business travelers to Germany. That has, of course, to do with the geopolitical and geostrategic position of Germany. That has to do with the fields and expertise in science and economy, which Germany is leading in many areas. Last year, before Corona entered our lives, 3 million events took place in Germany, excluding exhibitions. It's only conferences, conventions, and seminars and business events, with more than 423 million participants. That's 4.5 times the equivalent of the German population, and clearly shows how important the tool business event is for the scientific sector as well as for the economy. Why is Germany successful in the business events area? That has, of course, to do with value for money and the excellent infrastructure like Deutsche Messe is offering, for example, not only in Germany but all around the globe. But it has specifically to do with the economic and scientific expertise Germany offers in all the different regions within Germany. And that leads the way of many people to Germany in order to attend business events, in order to exchange ideas and transfer knowledge and drive innovation. So business events are an important platform for the scientific sector, but also for the economy in Germany. Harvard University did a very interesting research a few months ago. They tried to better understand how knowledge and the role of knowledge, how knowledge can be transferred. And they found out that moving brains are more important than moving bytes. That has to do with implicit as well as explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is available online, in books, in articles. You can read it, but that does not mean that you understand what the topic of the article, for example, is about. You can listen to presentations, but that does not mean that at the very end of the day, the person who listens to the presentation understands in detail what the presentation is about. Implicit knowledge means that I understood what it is about. It has to do with the experience which I collected during my professional life, for example. And business trips and business events especially help to increase implicit knowledge in order to better understand complex issues and topics. So that will play a major role in what we are going to experience in the next few weeks, months, and maybe years. Within Germany, as I mentioned already in the beginning, 423 million people attended business events before Corona attended our lives. Last year, only 60 million people attended business events. That, of course, had to do with the current situation all around the globe with travel restrictions and many other issues. This is why we partnered up with 28 European countries. Germany partnered up with 28 European countries, and we asked Oxford Economics, another leading research institute in the world, in order to create and define potential recovery scenarios of by when business events will return and how business events will return. This is why we wanted to understand how implementation of vaccination and testing strategies impacts the business event sector. We wanted to understand how official travel restrictions within companies, but also within the different countries will impact the business events industry. We wanted to understand how fast the business event sector has recovered after other events which have impacted the business event sector, like September 11 or the world financial and economic crisis. We wanted to better understand how personal risk aversion of the potential participant will influence the long-term changes in demand behavior through, for example, digital and hybrid formats. Will that impact the demand behavior of the potential participant in the future? And if we take all these different factors into consideration, Oxford shared 3 different potential recovery scenarios with us, which I'm going to share with you here. It's where we have one upside scenario, a baseline scenario, which is more or less the realistic scenario, and a downside scenario, which takes very much into consideration a change in the demand behavior of the potential participant in the future. And you can clearly see that the upside and baseline scenario sees a recovery phase starting already in the second half of 2021. 2022 still is a kind of transition year, and with the upside scenario, we see a quite positive development already in 2023, while only 2024 is getting back to what we knew in 2019. Those of you who are interested in more details on that specific report, we are more than happy to share that with you afterwards. It's a detailed report with, I think, 60 pages describing all the different factors in detail. But that means for all of us, all around the globe, that we experienced a phase or some phases where no face-to-face events were possible. Now it's going to come back slowly but steadily. Judith just mentioned it. Some of us are in phase 1, some are already in phase 2, and we will all sooner or later come back to phase 3. All scientists, all analysts, all experts believe in a renaissance of physical encounters. However, we all learned to live in a virtual zone over the last few weeks and months. We understood and learned how to collaborate, how to communicate on a digital level, on a digital platforms. And we all believe that the power of hybrid meetings will grow in the future. This leads us to the thesis that the business events industry, the entire market, will not only recover, but it will transform. And that's what we need to get ready for. And I know that Deutsche Messe is really ready for that new now, for that new normal. And I'm more than glad that Stefan will later on share one of their latest solutions which they have created and developed in order to create an answer for that new now or for that new normal which we are living in at the moment. We have to be honest with ourselves that for a certain time of period, for a certain period, we will definitely have less face-to-face meetings. That has to do with many different things. You all know that. So the cake will indeed get a little bit small, becomes a little bit smaller, and it's up to us to get a bigger slide out of the smaller cake. That's the competition we are all living in at the moment. And that's what Germany, of course, is trying to do, that we get ready for a smaller cake, to get a bigger slice from the smaller cake for a certain time of period. On the other hand, we know that the entire live communication sector will grow because the digitization creates new opportunities, new business models, new services and products. We believe that in the future, events will take place more often. Probably they will be smaller for a certain time. They will be probably more regional for a certain time, but they will also become more digital, that's for sure. And we see that personal encounter will still remain the jewel and the high-end product within the entire communication mix of corporations, but they will take more often, and they will probably become smaller, and that helps us to stay in close contact with our communities, because in a more and more digitized world, it's more important to offer realistic, real and authentic places. You can scale spaces, but you can't scale places. And the real and authentic place supports the message the event owner and the event organizer wants to spread within his or her community. So a clear message from a destination can underline the importance of the message. If you choose, for example, Hanover, Berlin, or any other German or any other destination in the world, in order to underline what you want to share with your community, the destination can support the message which you like to spread with your community. And in order to better understand how potential future events look like, we partnered up with the German Environmental Association, which supported us in order to better understand how the sustainability approach of future business events may look like. We partnered up with the already mentioned organization or research institute Future Meeting Space. We also partnered up with corporations like Siemens or hotel chains, AV companies, in order to better understand how a potential future global sustainable business events may look like. And there came up the idea, which we already identified with the Fraunhofer Institute a few years ago, of a multi-site or spatially distributed congress. We called that test lab BOCOM, Borderless Communication in the Digital Age, and we wanted to experience and understand how borderless communication in a digital work may work, and what works and what doesn't. We wanted to overcome borders of mobility, borders of language, communication, culture, and even workplaces. And we wanted to showcase but also challenge the technologies that brings people together. Are these technologies really working? What about VR, mixed realities? What about virtual rooms? And what about all the other technologies which are now currently, which we are all talking about at the moment? And the Fraunhofer Institute, the Research Institute, helped us with some research in order to better understand from a user experience whether I'm a purely virtual user or a user on site, on how that will affect my user experience, my learning journey, or the way how I build trust with other community members. And I have a little movie which I like to share with you, which shows you how that test lab was organized.
We are live now to Vienna, to the Akku Hub in Vienna, and I see Michael and Sabine. Hi! And with us in the Hub Essen is Jan-Paul Lahmann from the Design Office Hub in Essen. Hi, Paul!
Say hello, Amsterdam, to Berlin, Vienna.
Oh, yes.
Everybody.
Hello, Amsterdam!
And here you can see, and here you can compare this slide with the slide I showed at the very beginning of my presentation, when we talked about the international rotating scientific conferences. It's a global, it's an international it's a network overcoming borders. And this is what we believe the future may look like, that will remain international and globally connected, that we offer people to travel to certain destinations in order to attend a meeting on site, like some of you do today in Mexico. But others who are not able, or who are not allowed, or who are not in the position, or who cannot afford to attend the meeting, we have a very inclusive approach, and we invite the entire world to attend the business events which we run in Germany. Not only those who are ready and able to make it to travel either within Germany or from abroad to Germany.
Welcome everybody live in Berlin, and of course live in our live stream and live in our hubs. A warm welcome to all of you. Good morning, everybody.
BOCOM is a test lab for borderless communication and collaboration.
Now evaluate all these different formats you experienced today. You experienced in the hubs, you experienced from home.
Well, our vision is meetings made in Germany, connect the world, digital and face-to-face. Of course, I personally prefer the face-to-face version, but we need to get ready, we need to be ready to include the world in the activities we are organizing during business events. And therefore, I like to close with a quote by one of the most famous scientists and researchers who already said 150 years ago, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So let's get ready for the change. We are ready, and we like to share all the ideas and content and results from our research with you guys in your networks, because we believe change is the way to the future. So thank you very much for having me, and for those of you who are interested in getting in touch with me via LinkedIn, I invite you to join and follow my network. I'm very much looking forward to exchanging information, discussions, and ideally in seeing anybody of you in person as soon as possible. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you very much, Matthias, for this very valuable information. And Stefan, if you would like to continue, we are very interested in hearing your opinion and your view.
Yeah, thank you, Judith, and hi to all of you. It's great to be with you today. And I would like to talk to you on the basis on Matthias' explanations, go down to business to explain some use cases here in Hannover, because after a very long lockdown in our event business here in Germany, we are back at the door of the reopening of the industry here, and we see a really high demand of organizers, of exhibitors, of all the audience, especially in the B2B sector, for new events. And we have a fully booked event calendar next year in 2022. And this all events we expect in the next year goes from congresses, trade fairs in B2B, but also consumer exhibitions and so on. But however, what we see is that many business events now planning hybrid formats, and the number of participants will be lower in the next years than before COVID-19. And this is a trend we see for the future. We see, yes, more targeted group-specific, more content-focused and hybrid, but also more international events in present and in digital. And that's what I want to explain to you now, that digital is a very, very important performance feature of the Exhibition and Conference Center in Hanover. So for that reason, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if it will work. So hopefully you see the presentation.
Yes, perfect. Thanks.
First of all, I want to explain a little bit about Germany and Hanover, the Hanover venue. So from our point of view, and this is a learning which we took over from the GCB, is the expertise, the competence fields. In Germany, we see a strong business in transport and logistics, in medicine and healthcare, chemicals and pharmaceuticals, energy and environment, and also in technology and information innovation, especially automotive, of course, here, and financial services. And all the industries are under a high pressure what the digital transformation goes along with it. So digital, they have a lot of new digital showcases to present, and this is important for us. And we have to manage this, to create the best possible opportunities to present their new technologies and solutions at our venue. So expertise is absolutely important. So some words about Hanover. The region of Hanover has about 1.1 million residents. It's a high-performing economic hub here in the middle of Europe with best infrastructure connections. You can reach Germany and Hanover by plane, by train, by car, no problem. We have strong universities here located in Hanover with close to 50,000 students. And Hanover stands for competence fields of medicine, logistics, and of course, automotive. So what is Deutsche Messe? We are not only a provider of, or we don't only manage our venue, we organize trade show, as you know, worldwide. So we are a provider of leading marketplaces in the field of capital and consumer goods here in Germany and of course worldwide. Our global flagship fairs are Hannover Messe, well-known Domutex, and for instance Ligna. We host really big trade shows here in Hanover with Agritechnica, Eurotier, Commercial Vehicle Show, and Euroblech. And of course, we host special events of any type, from congresses, concerts, to annual meetings, all you can imagine. And of course, we focus with our venue for the Industry 4.0. Some basics regarding our exhibition and conference center. We offer close to 400,000 square meters indoor space in 25 halls. We have also 60,000 square meters open air space. So yeah, quite big venue, of course. We have a very modular and flexible utilization of all halls so that we can host small, really small events from 300 guests up to big shows with 500,000 participants. For that reason, okay, we need a perfect traffic and parking space management, and of course, you can't run a venue without a conference center, which is absolutely important. So, but the future is not only concrete and space. I think we expect that the future of the trade show business, the congress business, also for the business events, is the digital performance of exhibition and conference centers. And that's what we care about very, very intensive. And one feature is our 5G smart venue. Deutsche Messe is realizing the expansion of the Hanover Exhibition Center with the latest 5G mobile technology into a testing ground for automated and connected mobility. So companies from all over the world can come and test new mobility here at the fairgrounds. So that means what we have is we can drive 5 innovative 5G applications on 1.5 million square meters here, 500,000 square meters indoor in 25 halls, 10 kilometers roads, tunnels, and multi-story parking systems. So what if you want to do if you want to test self-driving concepts, new mobility concepts, you can realize this on our fairground. This is a city in the city, if you want to say. So the infrastructure for new mobility is here perfect, and you can test it in individual lab. That's a point. So we try to attract organizers, companies from the automotive sector, of course. And the next point is, of course, that we host the topic Industry 4.0, which means that companies like Siemens and other more, they can test and present their new technologies, machines, and robotics. So with 5G, we focus clearly on clear defined competence fields. So smart production is a topic for Hannover Messe, for instance, here in Hannover. Smart logistics, and of course, as I explained already, smart mobility. Smart city and public services, farming and technology, Internet of Things. All this stuff is what exhibitors, organizers can present and test here at the fairgrounds in Hanover. The next topic I want to talk about is the hub. The hub is a new multifunctional event location with a built-in streaming studio, ready for use online, hybrid, and live events. The venue for digital and analog live communication. So the hub means Hannover Hub is a relatively small hall here at the fairgrounds with 3,000 square meter. And we installed permanently streaming technology in it for hybrid events. Under COVID-19 conditions, we can host 300 people live in the halls. And the concept is simple but good. We have, of course, a check-in area, a nice one, an audience and event area with 1,800 square meters, 5 different settings, full service, of course, for directly on site, just from a single source. And the design, the lifestyle of the hall is urban, creative, and timeless. So you saw it in the little video, the stage is the center of the hall with 50 square meters, completed, equipped with studio technology, a 40 square meter LED wall, backstage backlighting, effect lighting, control technology and streaming hardware, sound, video, camera technology, and of course, nice lounge chairs and side table if wanted. And additional to it, we have at another corner of the hall a lounge area with decorative lounge design, furnishing, but also with studio technology. This area is around about 80 square meter, or has about 80 square meters. Background lighting, control technology, streaming hardware, sound and video camera technology also here. And then a smaller studio complex within the halls is the talk stage with 25 square meters. Also backstage in 3 versions available, wide stage, black lighting, control technology, as I said before, studio, video and camera technology, and of course, living room furnishing and bar stools if wanted. And then we should miss it, a display for products, a stage with 150 square meters, stage background lighting, once more control and technology, streaming hardware, video technology. You can use it as a dance floor, catering, or much more, for whatever you want. The hub is you can use the hub separately for streaming events or hybrid events, but you can combine it within a trade show. So you have the on-site event in the exhibition halls, and in parallel you have the hybrid or streaming event in the hub. We use this hub also in combination with international congresses. So what we see is the demand of the traditional face-to-face business combined with digital solutions. And the next solution we provide is a media factory. The media factory operates, Deutsche Messe operates a studio complex with 15 streaming and broadcast studios. And this is for the realizing of high quality video and audio productions. So we can realize here formats like presentations and discussions, podcasts, product presentations, seminars and trainings, press conference and meetings and conferences. Not that big as the hub, that's the idea behind. The hub is middle size with 3,000 square meters. And just a step below is the media factory, clearly focused on streaming formats, especially an offer for exhibitors on trade shows. So that's the future, we suppose. That's only 3 digital features we have or we created during the last months. 5G smart venue, the hub, hybrid event hub, and the media factory. And that's what Matthias already said. We see a combination of the traditional face-to-face communication. There's a high demand, but we see a strong development in the digital features on exhibition and conferences. And so we work hard on it to create new solutions for our clients. So for my point, thank you very much. And I'm open for questions and discussions.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for this overview of the Fairground of Hanover. It is really amazing with all the latest technology, and I hope we all have the chance one day to see it in person. So now we have some time for a question and answer session. So I would like to ask our audience here in Polyforum Leon and also via Zoom, so you can ask us your questions, and I'm also more than happy to translate it if they are in Spanish. Do we have somebody who has some questions or doubts? Yes, please.
Hello. Congrats. It was an awesome presentation. I would like to know which is or how you envision the development of the industry for the next 5 years. Where do you think we should be heading?
Matthias,
you can start and then I add. It's up to you.
Okay. So what we see is that we had to postpone some really big shows from the autumn this year into the next year, because the bigger the show, the event, the more safety and security and clearness is needed for the organizers. So we had during spring a little unclear situation how the pandemic will develop, and the big shows, the organizer of the big shows decided to step into the next year. So we are in the next year from February on, we are really well booked. But the next half year is quite interesting. At the moment, we have releasing of all the very strong measures we had during the last months here in Germany. And so we are ready to restart our business. And the first organizers are here and want to realize their shows. So we start with more national and regional orientated events from September on. And we'll have, I suppose, up to 20 events this year, but smaller ones. So I expect that the recovering of the exhibition and conference industry here in Germany will start really in 2022. But we have to wait for the development of the pandemic. What what could be a problem is to see how is the development of the pandemic in the global view, because at the moment we have a good situation for Germany and German events, and we have within the European Union a lot of opportunities to let people travel. But if you want to travel global, and for our events here in Germany, for the big ones, especially in Hanover, we need the global audience from US, from South America, from Central America, of course, from Asia and so on. And it's absolutely important that they have the opportunity to get into Germany. So we have to work on a good concept for tested, vaccinated, and recovered people. So that it is a must that people, they are tested, vaccinated, or recovered, are able to go by plane to Germany and take part at international exhibitions and congresses.
Thank you, Matthias. You want to answer?
From my perspective, that indeed it's more than important to welcome again European and international visitors in Germany. Of course, we all have to take into consideration the current situation, and health and safety of all people involved in business events is the priority. We know, and that's very good signs within the European Union, that the European Union has decided to implement the Green Digital Certificate, which, and Stefan has already mentioned it, makes traveling again possible. So the different European countries are currently in the progress of implementing the Digital Green Certificate. I just had this morning, we had a meeting with the companies which are involved in the implementation, and they are very confident that soon this will be implemented in all the European countries who are involved in the program. So, but the question you asked I think was also focusing on the next 3 to 5 years. We are currently starting another research initiative which very much focuses on the development of scenarios for real hybrid and virtual meeting spaces, taking into account alternative changing uses of existing and new spaces, areas and locations. That's exactly what Stefan already mentioned, and Deutsche Messe is really a first mover and moving very fast when it comes to adapting and embracing the new now and the new normal. But that's what we will see in the future. We need new skills on the one hand for our employees, for our as well on the customer side, but also on the demand side. We see new skills which are needed, but we see also new formats which will be implemented. And that's, I think, the most important thing for the next 3 to 5 years, that we have to rethink our analog delegate journey, because our industry will definitely move from a high-touch industry, which we were, because there were so many personal touch points during personal encounters. So the business events industry will move from a high-touch economy to a low-touch economy, meaning that we will implement at the different touch points during the delegate journey digital solutions in order to use facial recognition for the check-in procedure, for example, and other things. And the Green Digital Certificate is also one of these digital solutions which makes the delegate journey more seamless. On the other hand, we will think about not only the reinvention or reinvention of the analog delegate journey, we have to think about the newly created virtual delegate journey. And then we have to think about the hybrid delegate journey, meaning we have to think about all the touch points where the virtual viewer or the virtual attendant has the opportunity to meet the physical attendant on site. So that's a three-dimensional delegate journey, which is quite a complex thing to be honest, but in Germany we're ready to face it, and with many partners, not only the exhibition companies, but also our partners and customers, we are working on new solutions in order to get ready for that new now.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We've got some questions from our virtual audience. Jose Luis Rodriguez has a question. He asks, what's the minimum budgets to consider for a small or regional conference in general terms?
For an organizer, yes?
Yes, for organizers.
That depends. Depends on the needs of the organizer and the concept. But if you want to start with a really small event in Germany or here at the fairgrounds with up to 300 people, we see at least costs from 10,000 euro.
And that's for
digital
events?
It's including rental fee, including technology, event technology, and of course some low-cost catering.
Okay, perfect. Matthias, do you want to add something?
No, I think that I fully agree with Stefan that it depends on what kind of event it should be. That was a very concrete answer, I think, and gives a great example on what Deutsche Messe is offering here. And of course, other exhibitions have similar programs in place, and hotel chains as well in Germany. But that, I think, was a very good description of how much an event should cost when you talk about, smaller and medium-sized formats. But of course, it depends on if you like to link other destinations or interconnect your destination with other hubs. Then, of course, it becomes more complex, and more complex means at the very end of the day, more investment.
Okay, thank you. We've got another question from Jimena. She asks, this seems to be more expensive for event organizers to use of so much technology. How to recover the investment of such events? Who would like to start?
One central question. This is the question of their business model. To have digital features with your event or at your event is not only fun. I think the question is, how can I, as an organizer, create a new additional benefit for my customers? And how can I realize this digital benefits and bring this benefits into a new turnover for my company as an organizer? So this is really not only fun. And if you think about digital solutions for your event, you should think about it. What are your targets? What do you want to gain with this new concept? Is it useful for me to add a streaming studio to my face-to-face meeting? So from this point of view, I would always give the idea, think about your business model, think about your targets, and what do you want to realize with your event.
Thank you. Matthias, you want to add something?
I can only underline what Stefan said. It's about the objective, it's about the purpose of the event, and sometimes it is maybe the right decision not to involve any technology because it's really focusing on the person and the persons and the community and the audience which is on site. And other business models or objectives or goals for an event can help to increase the reach for the message which you like to spread. So imagine inviting 100 people to a location is you reach 100 people, and in the future you may invite 100 people to the event and reach another 1,000. So that makes your event much more successful in terms of reach. And that's also, I think, something we should always think about. And the future role of business events is that they will become even more important omni-channel tools within the entire marketing mix, because the event is not only taking place once a day for a certain time of period with a certain number of participants. You can use the event in order to invite even more people than you can host at the destination where your event takes place. You can do serial and not only parallel hybrid events. That means you use the content which you have produced for another communication loop with your community. So the event in general will become a more powerful marketing tool as it was before, because you can use it not only to address those who are able to attend, but also those who are not ready or not able to attend the business event. And that's why you can even choose maybe not to use other marketing tools anymore, because those are not the ones which are the right tools in order to address your community. And you can invest the money you do not spend in other channels in order to reinvest it in the business event in order to make it more powerful, more omni-channel, and more hybrid.
Perfect, thank you. We've got a question in the audience here, please.
Hi, good morning. I will ask you, like in Germany with these changes, how do we will do with these hybrid events to calculate the economic spill, the profit, if you will not have the face-to-face conventions and congresses, how you will calculate the economic spill in tourism?
Yeah, that's new business is always a little bit trial and error for the organizers. That's true. What we see is that in advance of a new concept, if you want to attract participants for a hybrid concept, the digital participants should also pay their participation fee. And there's a just test it before you try to realize such a show. Just have a query with your audience and check if your concept is well appreciated from your core audience. So check your concept, talk with your clients, and ask them, are they willing for a digital participation? That's somehow a little bit new for this this audience. They are used to get all the information without costs at the internet or in the internet. And so you have to work out all the advantages and the USPs which are important which are important for your concept and therefore for your audience and participants. So you need a dual system. You have, of course, you have your participation fee on site, which is clear and well known. And of course, you have to establish participation fee for all the digital audience you want to attract. And of course, what is very important, and we have made some experience with it, more than for the classical face-to-face events you have on a fairground, for instance, the sponsorship for digital formats is a very important financial tool for you. Because one advantage could be that you spread your audience, that you get a higher audience than before on site. And if that happens, you can attract and win sponsors who are willing to pay a sponsor fee for participation as a sponsor and a digital exhibitor.
And we believe that the success of, or what success means of an event, that always has to do with the perspective. We have the perspective of the delegate, of the participant. He or she will create and develop new KPIs, and that's what we try to understand within our research as well. The future KPIs which makes an event successful from a delegate's perspective. That will definitely change. On the other hand, we have the perspective of the event owner, why he or she thinks that the event was successful. That will also change, and especially it will change with the purpose of why an event takes place. And it also can be one of the KPIs in the future from an event owner's perspective, that you gain reach or additional followers, for example, online or at an event, at LinkedIn, for example, when you run a certain event. From a destinations perspective or from a locations perspective, there are even different potential success factors that can the overall target and goal of all destinations and locations, of course, is that the meeting itself, be it a virtual meeting as a streaming meeting from a certain location or a hybrid meeting, that it takes place at a certain destination, because that's the first thing. If you don't offer digital solutions, if you are not ready and open for that new business models, then the event itself will never ever take place at your destination or location. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that you can link the success of a meeting, the measurement of the success factors and KPIs of a meeting, with the expertise in science and economy, which are located next to your locations or destinations. If you as a destinations want to run business events that are related with renewable energies, for example, then you should try to bring these events to your destination, because even while broadcasting from the destination XYZ, the destination is linked with the topic of the conference, which talks, for example, about the issue of renewable energies. So there are many new KPIs which are currently under development and which have already been developed. And for those of you who are interested to learn more about these specific success factors from the different perspectives from a delegate's perspective, an event owner's perspective, and a destination's perspective or location's perspective, I'm more than happy to share the latest research results with you. We have an own chapter which only deals with KPIs from the different perspectives.
Thank you very much. Very important. Thank you. We've got another question. Every single event attracts different types of participants. Participants who embrace change and new technologies, but also participants who like the old way of attending events and doing business. So how do you attract different types of audience and also different generations to a digital event?
This is a very good question. And if I look at myself, 3 different hearts beat within my body. It's, on the one hand, I like really to see people in person. On the other hand, I'm ready and keen to test new solutions and digital solutions. And it becomes more and more important to create the concept of an event. And that will definitely create new jobs, new professional careers, because we see so that we learn from many other sectors at the moment. The business events industry learns from the TV and entertainment sector, because that's what Stefan just shared with you. The Hanover Up, that is like, a big TV show in the German television. So we learn from TV and entertainment sectors. We learn from the gamification industry in order to better understand how to virtually involve and involve the audience. So that is definitely nothing which will happen from today till tomorrow. And within our research, we did also some tests in order to find out what works and what doesn't. And we did even a test where we collected socio-demographic data from the potential attendees in order to better understand what the young and wild digital native is interested in and what the more experienced senior person maybe is interested in. And we created 6 different attendee types, from the young, wild female attendee to the really senior expert. And I am also ready to share that with you because that's quite interesting to look into the 6 different attendee types, which are linked with different success factors, because different attendees, of course, have different experiences and also different needs and expectations. And one of the biggest challenges we are all facing in the future is that the workplaces are changing as well, and that we in Germany have 3 different generations now working in one company, from the senior people to the young professionals, and that's 3 different generations under one roof, and that's a challenge indeed, but we are all ready to face it.
Stefan, do you want to add something?
Yeah, the central question is, how do you get in contact with your target group? As Matthias said, you have different categories. You have the traditional, maybe older people, and you get in contact via classical media. But what we see is an increasing number of people with a digital background, and to contact them via social medias. So yeah, check your target groups, and the more you know about your target groups, the easier is it for you to create a new communication strategy. But it is difficult because you have to do both. You have to work in the classical way, and you have to work your marketing, or you have to do your marketing in a digital way. Both of it is very important, and maybe in the future the digital way makes it somehow easier. But at the moment we see the need for the classical marketing. It is important also.
Perfect. Thank you very much for those answers. We've got another question from our virtual audience. Could you share more information about the digital green certificate? Do you, this certificate will be available for foreigners?
Yeah, this will also be available for foreigners in the future. The idea behind the Green Digital Certificate is to confirm that you are either vaccinated, recovered, or tested, and that it can easily be checked through digital touch points to make it easy and seamless for all people who want to access either events, a plane, check in at a hotel, or any other public event. And you can find further information on either the website of the German Health Ministry or the European Union, which has an own chapter which has all the information available on the current situation in the different countries and the plans of by when the Green Digital Certificate will be implemented in the different European countries, and with which countries the European Union is discussing those bilateral relationships in order to make it offer access to foreigners to the different European states.
Great. Stefan, do you want to add something?
No, I'm fine.
Perfect. So a lot of information also online. And we've got another question. Do we have already an excess of digital events? We've got webinars every week and seminars and congresses. So is there an excess, and is there already like kind of a boredom about digital events. What is your opinion about that?
Well, I didn't get the last part of the question, sorry. Can you please repeat it?
If there is already an excess of digital events, because every week we can attend to webinars or seminars, and yeah, are people still wanting digital events, or are they already bored of digital events?
I mean, I can only quote the CEO of Zoom, Eric Yuan, who said a few weeks ago that he's tired of video meetings. And it's even if the CEO of one of the largest companies which offers such a service said that he is from time to time fed up with, let's put it this way, Zoom meetings or any virtual meetings, then that shows that, of course, these virtual meetings are a great opportunity for us to get in touch and to exchange information like we do today. It's so easy for Stefan and me to be part of your great conference today. But on the other hand, it would be much greater to meet you all in person and have the opportunity now during the coffee break to discuss everything in more detail. So that's why I fully believe, and I can only say it on behalf of my own experience, that I'm more than happy to meet people again in person, but I also like to use the opportunity to get in touch with people like you now and today through these solutions.
Perfect. Stefan?
What we see is a longing of organizers and people to come together and have face-to-face events. So yeah, we host guest organizers, and it is so nice to have the people here at the fairgrounds right now, today and yesterday, and walk about the venue here and explain how it works and how the exhibition will be or how the congress will be. So yeah, a lot of people are really fed up with all the digital stuff and want and really longing for new face-to-face events, but also the hub, which I explained earlier, is in a high demand, and a lot of companies from Hannover, in the region of Hannover, they ask for opportunities to do digital or hybrid events. So people open for new opportunities, but the emotion of events and face-to-face communication is something you can't, you have to deal with. This is a real unique selling proposition. The emotion to get in contact face-to-face with people is something which we will never lose. So people want to meet and to talk to each other on site, and that is we trust on our business model with all the halls we have and the conference areas. And of course, we will invest a lot of money to make them better and more comfortable, because we see that people come here and will meet. But also we have to provide all our digital solutions for the young generation.
Yes, of course. So I think hybrid events, as we have it today, is a perfect solution. We have face-to-face interaction here in Leon, but also the virtual experience and the great chance to have those experts here from Germany. So I think hybrid events is a really good solution for that. And we've got another question. How does the communication change when promoting a virtual or a face-to-face event? So what's the difference in the communication when promoting a digital event or when promoting a hybrid or face-to-face event, sorry?
I think one big difference between the communications is, on the one hand, it's the time by when we start to promote the event. So a physical event needs to be promoted quite in time in order to get all the information ready for the potential participant, to book the flight, to book the hotel room, to check all the details when it comes to traveling to a destination, and to make his or her plans around the event. Maybe he or she wants to meet another person at the hotel or even at the city, or wants to combine the visit or the participation of an event with visiting someone in the region on behalf of business. So that makes it much more complex, and we need much more preparation time in order to get ready to travel, or to get all the to organize all the travel details. Online events have much shorter preparation phases when it comes to communications, because people are more ready to attend on short term, because they receive all the information. Oh, that sounds interesting. That's up-to-date stuff. Oh, cool, I go there and attend next week. So people are more flexible when it comes to attending. And that is, I think, one of the main differences in communication when it comes to events. And another main difference is that communicating a virtual event needs to be much more focused, because there's such a great variety of options to attend virtual events, and it's an information overflow. And you, as a potential attendee, you need to have the chance and the opportunity to analyze whether the quality of the potential event is okay, who the speakers are. Is it worth for me to attend, or is it just, something which I can, or is it not so interesting for me? So it's the communication needs to be more focused on the potential customers' needs.
Perfect, thank you. Stefan?
Yeah, it's just the same from my point of view. It's just the same to the marketing for B2B or live events or virtual events. The stronger your brand, the bigger the event, the more you can spread your marketing activities. And but the smaller your event, and you want to reach a special interest group, you have to work really very, very targeted. So it is important to create and define your community for virtual events and make it very easy to participate. This is the borderless point Matthias worked out before. Make it easy to participate and be clear about your target group. And yeah, if you have a really strong brand, it's sometimes much easier to get your audience and your sponsors. And but maybe it's good if you have a smaller special interest event. Yeah, create and define your target group and get in contact via the community online.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So we're coming to the end of today's panel, and I think this panel made it really clearly, or it illustrated, that even though the event industry suffered significant losses due to the pandemic, it also demonstrated how the pandemic served as an accelerator for digital, hybridization, and other innovative solutions. Based on what we've heard today, I think the success formula for future-proof business events are forward-thinking organizers, venue operators, suppliers, investors, and service providers who are committed to innovation. Thank you very much, Stefan and Matthias, for this enlightening presentation and panel on the future of the event industry. And also thank you to our audience that joined us today here in Polyforum Leon and also virtual. And I wish you all a great day and enjoy the following conferences in our Congress. Thank you very much.